Welcome to One Man's View Britain Today, and what a crazy Britain it is. Where did the government think we come from? Do they think we're all fake? Do they really think we're that thing? In this video, I'm going to be talking about the government work programme. Now, whether the programme itself is better than what was before or not is totally irrelevant, because the programme itself is utterly 100% wrong. It shouldn't be there in the first place. It is not doing what any programme should do, as create jobs. The programme's not creating jobs at all. It's in fact, it is an absolute joke. These people, these government people, a lot of them got educated in Oxford and Cambridge, and maybe they don't understand maths. I don't know. Maybe they were never taught it. There's approximately 2,670,000 people unemployed in Britain today. Now, I'm talking about people on benefit and job seekers. I'm not talking about people on disability and various other reasons. 2,670,000 that are on job seekers benefit. Now, that's the people out of work looking for jobs. So how many jobs are there for these 2.67 million people? Well, presently there are 463,000 jobs, which means there's a shortfall of jobs of 2,207,000. It doesn't take much to understand something. In the whole of the UK, you've got approximately 463,000 jobs available. And if you're an employer and you want to fill those positions, which obviously they do, otherwise they won't be offering those jobs out, you want to fill those positions as quickly as possible, and you've got a marketplace of people, and there's 2,670,000 of them, I don't think you're going to have a problem filling those positions. So what do our government do? Because there's a lack of jobs, what do the government do? They pay training companies. Oh, they tell you it's no cost to the taxpayer until, and they tend to hide this a little bit, until, that is, they've been in employment 6 months. Now, this past year, these training companies have placed around about 31,000 people into positions where they've been in for 6 months. Thereby, the government then pay them. But these positions would have been filled anyway. It didn't need a training company to push these people to these jobs. These employers had a marketplace of 2,670,000 people available to fill those positions. They didn't need the taxpayer to pay a training company to pass those people on to them. It's absolutely ridiculous. See, the problem is there are not enough jobs for the amount of people out of work. So where should the money go? The money that's been put into these very rich multi-million pound training companies should be, that's taxpayers' money, should be put into small, medium, viable businesses to help them grow, so natural jobs come along. And there are opposition parties and various MPs here and there that say, you know, I know one of them, Maliban Bland, whatever they call him, in Labour said he would pay companies to take people on. How ridiculous. A job has to be natural. It has to be needed. The companies have to grow to put people into them. So you're looking at viable long-term businesses. That's where the money should be going into. It should be going into long-term businesses. New company startups. Not to training companies to feed people that are there for any employer to pick up anyway. It's a total waste of money. And they talk about not being on target. They had a target of 5.5% employment through this system. And they're talking about targets, they've only met 3.5. The target's a joke, it doesn't mean anything. Because the whole system doesn't mean anything. I've never heard anything like it in my life. These guys went to Oxford and Cambridge. What did they do there? Play about in a little boys' club? Absolute joke. And do you know, I don't see it mentioned by the media. I don't see politicians mentioning it. I've seen discussions, many of them on television and talk shows. No one mentions it. There are not enough jobs. Focus on getting the jobs. Don't create artificial jobs. You want real jobs. You want companies to want people. You want companies that are going to grow, expand. Training companies are going to be paid for 31,000 people because they've been in employment through training companies for 6 months. Those 31,000 jobs were there in the first place. Those positions would have been taken by the workforce that was available, the 2.67 million. It didn't need a training company to put you through. Now, I'm not saying that some people unemployed may need some sort of training. I had the privilege of being with 12 people on one of these. Out of the 12, they went through a 3-day training during their time, one of many. And this 3-day one that I met them, out of the whole 12, only one needed help. And he needed specialised help that wasn't available anyway. All the rest, after 3 days, they were ticking off a piece of paper that they could turn something into italics on a computer, on a word processor. You can slant a word. Hello? We're talking about graphic designers. One of the guys was a graphic designer. And he's on a 3-day course that the government, the taxpayers, paying for to train him how to turn something into italics. And he's a graphic designer out of all the 12 people that I met. And that was one of 2 groups running the same 3 days. Out of all the 12 people I met, only one needed help. And he needed specialised help. All the rest were way beyond the course. What a waste of money. It's absolutely farcical. The nitty-gritty is very simple to understand. There's 2,670,000 people unemployed. There's 463,000 jobs available. So there's not enough jobs for the people. So where do you put the money? You put the money into the jobs. Develop the jobs. What's the point in training people for jobs that are not there? And paying training companies for jobs that are there anyway that would be filled by the mass marketplace of people that are out there without them. That's Britain today. And that's the government today. There's not one government in Britain today that are worth putting in power. It needs a completely new government that have got some simple common sense. Ian Duncan said the taxpayer should not foot the bill. I'm sorry, they are. 31,000 people through the training companies the government are going to pay with taxpayers' money. And those jobs they're in were there in the first place They haven't been created by the training companies. They were jobs out in the marketplace that would have been fed and filled anyway. If you'd like to leave a comment below. And if you'd like to associate a video, one of your own, associate it to One Man's View Britain Today. Catch you on the next one.